And yes, today I will speak about one of my favorite and beloved black metal bands, especially of the Norwegian genre. And I'm speaking of this, and even more special, specifically of the second wave of Norwegian black metal. And I'm speaking, of course, about the legends of Darkthrone. Personally, if you ask me which bands I prefer from the Norwegian black metal, and especially from the second wave of black metal, I can say two bands: Immortal and Darkthrone. So let's start. Darkthrone, they started in 1986, but then their name was they had another name, and like Black Death. This was the first name of the band, and in these years they played only death metal. In the beginning, the band was also Fenris. Gilve Nagel is his real name. Nocturno Culto, his name is Ted Skedzelum, something like that. And Zephyrus, also his name is Ivar Enker. And they were, even from the beginning, inside the band. And something between 1991, they started to change a little by little, especially after their first studio album. In their first studio album, Southside Journey, that came out in 1991, also they played only death metal. Okay, but in the same year they started to change, because of the influence of Euronymous and of the Helvete society, the inner cycle, let's say. And Fenris took the decision to start to play black metal. Their black metal is very influenced from Bathory and even more from Celtic Frost, even until these days. Most of the people they know and they prefer Darkthrone above because of their three famous albums of the Unholy Trinity. And I'm speaking about A Blaze in the Northern Sky, their second album, Under the Funeral Moor, then third album, and Transylvanian Hunger, their fourth album. These three albums, they are the peak of the whole career of Darkthrone. You can find also people that they like also in the same way their fifth album, Panzerfaust, of course. And there are some fans of the band that they prefer only this black metal period of the band. Some other black metal fans also they prefer the albums of black metal that Darkthrone played until the album Sardonic Warfare. There are also a small number of people that they only prefer their first death metal album, Southside Journey. Okay, but Darkthrone, after Sardonic Warfare, after their 11th album of them, they changed their style to something between crust punk, deep beat, let's say punk, and black metal. Or if I'm even more specific, a blanket style of crust punk, something like that, or black rock and roll. Other people they will say this style. Many people and many black metal fans they did like at all. They continued with this style for 3 or 4 albums, more or less. And they came also with another style of music that they started with their also famous album by the name the Underground Resistance, their 16th album. Then they started also to put in their music even more heavy metal influences of British heavy metal, of new wave of British heavy metal, some speed metal influences also, a little bit in their music, and some epic also metal influences in their music. Also in their last two albums, Old Star and Eternal Hails, they put even more doom metal influences together with the influences of Celtic Frost. Personally, I like all their periods of them and all their albums. So when I come to make a worst to best, it's not really worst to best because every album is very, very, very good and I love it. But in any case, I will put the albums there, or their 19 albums of them, studio albums. In my personal opinion about what is coming first, what comes coming second, and etc. etc. Also, I have to say that in the beginning, so Darkthrone, they're one of the special bands that they played many styles of music, death metal, afterwards black metal, and they're one of the pioneers of the black metal, of the Norwegian black metal. They played crust punk or blackened crust punk, they played speed, they played heavy, they played doom, they played many kinds of music inside their special style. Also, I could also speak here about some EPs of them, some famous EPs, the EP of 2006, Too Old, Too Cold, or the EP of 2007, New Wave of black heavy metal, or about some combinations, for example, of demos of them, Frostland Tales of 2008 and The Wind of 660 Black Hearts of 2016. This title is very close to the band of him from Finland, but okay. Okay. Now, another thing, in the beginning they were under Peaceville Productions from England. Afterwards, they became under the productions of Moonfog of Satyr. Okay, now I have also to say something else. They made a big mistake when they came out with Transylvanian Hunger. Maybe because of some influences of Varg of Burzum. They wrote in the first copies of the album of Transylvanian Hunger, Norsk Arisk black metal. In other, it says Norwegian Aryan black metal, something like that. And also they made an anti-Semitic statement. They said that if someone does like the album Transylvanian Hunger, this is a Jewish style. Okay, it's so ironic. I am Jewish, and I like so much Darkthrone, and especially Transylvanian Hunger. Okay, afterwards, of course, they said that they make a mistake. They made a mistake, and in Panzer first album, they wrote that they are not a Nazi band and not a political band at all. I can also say that Fermis is one of the best people inside the whole heavy metal community. He's so polite, and also he tries to teach the young generations of metalheads about other styles of metal music, not only of black metal. And he promotes many bands that today they are so famous. Let's speak about Ghost. He promotes Ghost by himself, from Sweden. Ghost from Sweden. He promoted, for example, for many years also Manila Road, the Legends of epic heavy metal, of epic doom heavy metal, also we can say. He promote, for example, Eternal Champion and Summerlands, other also great epic metal bands, and so on and so on and so on. Or for example, Violent Force, a German thrash metal band of the 80s. So today I will start to rank their albums from the worst to best, and I'm saying that in reality they don't have a really worst album. So let's start. In the 19th place, for me, in the last place, I will put their 12th album of 2006, The Cult Is Alive. This album is the first album that they changed their music to a blackened, crust punk style. And many people, they didn't like the album, they didn't expect something like that from Darkthrone. I can say that it's also a good album, but from their crust punk period, I prefer it a little bit less from the other albums of this style. Also, the cover art is not so good, in my opinion. Okay, now in the 18th place, their 18th also album of them, Old Star of 2019, and now let's say some things. This album is a very good album, a very good album. I said before that I like even all of their albums. A very good album. In this album they started to play a little bit more doom metal with Celtic Frost, of course, influences. It's a very good album, but I don't know why I'm not so connected with it, except of the great song, The Hardship of the Scots. Okay, and for this reason I will put in this place. Also, the cover art is special and very good. Now, 70th place, their last album, their 19th last album of 2021, Eternal Hails. It continues the same way like Old Star, a very doom style way with Celtic Frost elements in the music. It's a very great album also. I liked it so much, and I put it inside the 30 best albums of 2021 of the last year, with also a great cover art. There are some other also black metal bands that they have the same also cover art in their albums. A band like Zephyros from Greece, black metal band, for example, and so on and so on. But it's a great album. But I will put it here only because of the other albums that will come afterwards. In the 16th place, there also another album of their crust punk period, FOAD, Fuck Off and Die. If I'm not sure, this is the meaning of the letters. A very punk style title. This is the 13th album of them of 2007. Great album. Okay, also special here they have the song Canadian Metal, that they speak about the great heavy and thrash metal, speed metal bands from Canada. A great album also. But I will put in this place. You can see here in their mascot the name Death Hammer, a Norwegian thrash metal band, a great Norwegian thrash metal band, Death Hammer. You can see here in his, let's say, battle vest. Okay, now 15th place. Their 14th album of 2008, and I'm speaking about Dark Thrones and Black Flags. Also, the title of the album, Black Flags. Okay, you can find also the punk influence. Also, another of their crust of punk albums of them. I prefer it a little bit more from FOAD, from FOAD. It came out in 2008. Also here in their mascot you can find Nocturnal, another, if I'm not sure, thrash metal band from Germany, black thrash metal band from Germany, something like that, even more thrash than black. Yes, here also they have some very good songs. Hiking metal punks, for example. Not only. Um, okay, it's also the winds they called in Dungeon Shaker. Also, is a very good song that opens the album. And now, in the 14th place, their debut first album of them, Soulside Journey, of 1991. This album is a death metal album, of course, and here they play a style of Swedish death metal. Okay, they're Norwegians, but the style of their death metal was from the Swedish old school Swedish death metal school, let's say. Also, the band Nihilist and members of the band Nihilist from Sweden, and afterwards of Entombed, they helped them very much also with this album, a great album of old school Swedish death metal. And this is the only album that they were 4 members, together with Fernese, together with Natural Culto, and together with Zephyrus. We had another guy by the name Doug Nielsen. He played the bass in this album. Okay, now in the 13th place, their real last black metal album, the 11th album of them, Sardonic Warfare of 2004. I can say that for me this is the black metal album of them that I less prefer, but also is a good album. Now in the 12th place, and some people they will not understand my decision about this. This is a personal taste of the music. I will put here the 6th album of them of 1996, and then speak about Code Lord. Now I have to say some things. Code Lord is not exactly a real, let's say, album. In the beginning, after they made their first album of death metal, Suicide Journey, they prepare another death metal album, but then Fenriz took the decision to start to play black metal. He took some songs from this second death metal album and put them in place in the Northern Sky like black metal songs. And most of this material of the second death metal album of them, he didn't make something about it. The years come one after the other, and then when they were under the moonfog of Satyricon, the Satyr maybe he decided to say to them to take this second album, that it was to be their second album, and made it from the beginning. So this is the album by the name God Lord. Most of the album is very technical death metal in the music, but afterwards they put vocals that they are even more black metal vocals. And the combination with this technical death metal and black metal vocals, for me it's very special, and I like this album so much. And I know there are many haters that they hate this album at all. It was to be their second album, but afterwards came out like their sixth album. Now, in the 11th place, their 17th album of 2016, Arctic Thunder. And I can say that this is one of my favorite Darkthrone albums. So why I put it only in this place and not even afterwards? Because also I like so much the other albums. I think Thunder is an album that continues exactly the way that they started with Underground Resistance, the album before. An album that has many speed metal influences, heavy metal influences of new wave of British heavy metal, some epic metal influences in their black metal music, and also is a comeback a little bit more to the black metal. Not exactly, but is also a comeback. So when it came out, I like it so much. Okay, now in the 10th place, their 15th album of 2010, Cycle the Wagons, and for me this is the best crust punk, black and crust punk album of them. A great album from I like it so much. Also here we can find some special songs. Those treasures will never befall you, a very good song. I am the working class, also cycle of the cycle the wagons, etc. Great album. Also here in their mascot we have some Morne I think is a black metal band. I'm not sure from where. And here we have another also band, but let's see where. Yeah. In his leg he has another also band here, but I don't remember. Is it thrash metal band, something like that? Okay. Now, in the 9th place, their 16th album of 2013, The Underground Resistance, a great special album. The first album that they started to put speed and metal and heavy metal influences and epic metal influences in their music. Great album from all I like it so much also. Here also we have the great song, a long song, Leave No Cross Unturned. But no, not only a great album with a great epic style cover art. Now, in the 8th place, their 10th album of them of 2003, Hate Them. Okay, Hate Them is one of the last black metal albums of them, and this album is strong. It's very strong. I prefer it even better from Sardonic Warfare, of course. I like it so much. In the 7th place, their 7th album of 1996, and I'm speaking about Total Death. Here I have the cover art of the reissue, not of the original cover art, with planets and water. Okay, some people also they don't like so much Total Death. I think that is also a great album. Here we have some songs that they are written, their lyrics, if I'm not sure, from Garm of Ulver, and not only, and from Arcturus, from Satyr, of course, of Satyricon, from Ixach of Emperor, and of Carl Miguel Eide, the personality behind Ved Buenos Ende, or also Dot Hems Guard. Also, he played with Ulver, with Virus. He played also with Aura Noir. Okay. This album is great. Also, I like it so much. Great album. In the sixth place, a little bit even from Total Death, I prefer than their ninth album of 2001, Black Wilder, if I prefer it well. Also, this is not the original cover art, but of the reissue. The reissue also cover art is a little bit more nice from the original in any case. Also a great style of black metal of their late albums of them. Fifth place, their eighth album of 1999, revising Grimness, with the original artwork here, and also a very good black metal album. Yes, I like it. I like it even more from Black Wilder and even more from Total Death. And now let's go to speak about their real best of the best albums of them. In the fourth place, their fifth album of 1995, Panzerfaust, a great black metal album with very harsh vocals from Culto. Wow, this album also it continues the way that they started with Unholy Trinity. A great album with a great cover art. Here, one of the songs, the lyrics that are written from Varg. A great album, and for many black metal fans, this is the last really good black metal album of them. But I can say that all of their albums, they are great. Here also one of the songs is the same style with inside the album of Storm. This super group with Satyricon and Fernese. Also there they had a song that is similar to one of the songs of the album. And continue. In the third place, their third album of 1993, and then speak about Under a Funeral Moon. Under a Funeral Moon with this great cover art. Here, if I'm not sure, is Zephyrus in the cover art. And this is the last album that they were a power trio. There were only three guys in the band, because after this album, in 1993, Zephyrus left the band, and from then and afterwards they became a duo. Only two guys, Fernese and Nocturnal Culto. This is the second album of the Holy Trinity, and for me, I prefer the two others a little bit more, but also is a great album. Here also I can say that the last last four songs, I prefer them a little bit more from the four songs of the beginning. It's my personal taste. And now in the second place, their second album of 1992, A Blaze in the Northern Sky. Okay, this is the first black metal album of them, their second album of the whole history of them, and one of the first black metal albums, Norwegian, of the albums of the second wave that came out in this year of 1992, together with the first album of Immortal, together with the first album of Burzum, even if not sure if it came out in 1991. Okay, or Aske of Boris with the EP, his first EP. Great album. Wow. Here we have Catharian Life Code. The beginning of the song is great. In the sound of the horns, also a little bit more black rock and roll also in this song. A Blaze in the Northern Sky, The Pagan Winter, great songs. And I think that here is an actual culto in the cover art. And of course, in the first place, their fourth album, and the third of the Holy Trinity. And I'm speaking about Transylvanian Hunger of 1994. This album is phenomenal. Together with A Place in the Northern Sky, for me, they are the best Darkthrone albums, the best of the best. And if someone wants to know what is Darkthrone, I will say to him to listen first of all to Transylvanian Hunger, afterwards A Place in the Northern Sky, and afterwards also Under a Funeral Moon. The Holy Trinity, of course, they are their peak of them of the whole of them career, of course, A great album with great songs, so cold, so lo-fi. Wow. Here, the half of the songs, their lyrics also from Varg of Burzum, and it's a great album, one of the best Norwegian black metal albums of all time. In the cover art is a Fenris. So this is about my beloved Norwegians or black metallers, Darkthrone from Israel, from Jerusalem. Stay metal and stay heavy.